and all the powers of hell!
Hey there everyone, Omega Snake here, and it's finally time to do one of my most anticipated boss strategies, how to beat Maleficent Dragon. But unlike my strategy with Ursula, I will not be covering her normal phase because honestly there isn't much to it. So instead of her, I'll cover Riku Ansem after the dragon since he's literally in the next room after this fight. But of course, before the fight itself, let's talk about preparations. Before you do the fight itself, you will have to do a little side questing for once to get the best stuff for this fight. The main part of this is to go back to the Olympus Coliseum and take on the Hercules Cup and defeat Herc himself. Just hit him with barrels to take out his godhood and fight him the best you can. I can make a boss strategy if enough people struggle with him. After you beat him, you will not only get the Olympus Keyblade, but you will also get the Yellow Trinity, which you can use to seal up the Coliseum. After you get that, head back to Neverland and go to the room you were in when you started Neverland. Head up the ladder and there should be a Yellow Trinity symbol in front of a door. Open it and you get a great spell for the fight, an upgraded arrow spell. After you get those two things, head back to Hollow Bastion and get ready to rock the dragon. Sorry, couldn't resist. Anyway, before fighting her dragon form, make sure you are around 48 or so, and have the best equipment for your playstyle along with the Olympia Keyblade. Also, there are two enemies that drop really good weapons for Donald and Goofy, but it's also at a pretty low drop rate. The Wizard Heartless and the Defender Heartless. If you got their weapons, please put them on. Also, if you picked the shield at the start of the game, make sure you have Leaf Bracer, and especially Second Chance. If you pick the sword though, you get Second Chance right at 48, and you should also equip MP Haste, it'll help. Sadly though, if you pick the staff though, you won't have Second Chance, but you will have Leaf Bracer, and you should also equip both of the air combo pluses since you do have to aim for her head. Lastly, because I am sure some of you are wondering, what about Maleficent's first phase? Well, her first phase is very easy. Just use gravity on her platform and just wail on her, and she'll go down with ease. Just make sure you don't ignore the Heartless she summons, or you might get overwhelmed. Well, that's finally everything in terms of preparations. Now, let's get to the fun part. Time to face the dragon herself. Yes, I have a Funko Pop. Alright, now that Maleficent has shown her true form, let's talk about her attacks and how to avoid them. First up is her sheer stomping attack. She will focus mainly on you, but if you keep moving around, she will stomp as she turns around to try to face you, leaving a large shockwave with every step. So try to keep to the air as much as you can to avoid it. She will also stand up on her hind legs for a second sometimes to try to do a large double stomp. So get ready to jump when she does this. Next, while you are trying to hit her head, be careful as those teeth are not just for show and will try to bite you at multiple times. So back off until she stops before continuing your assault. She also has a Dragon Claw attack, but it doesn't really do as much as long as you're not near her chest. Do be aware though, if it looks like she's just standing there, it's because she is about to do a big spin attack to try to hit you with her tail, and trust me, it hurts. So if you see her standing around, back off and jump to avoid her tail. Lastly, what is a dragon form without dragon breath? She will shoot it out straight at first, and her flames linger, forcing you to reposition, and will give her a reason to turn and repeatedly stomp. However, once she loses a bar of health, she will gain two new fire attacks. The first is a larger cone of fire breath, meaning more of a reason to move, and she will sometimes summon fireballs that will spiral towards you, though that doesn't really home in on you. You can also block or hit the fireballs back at her for a good chunk of EXP if you want to. Once she's down to half a yellow bar, she will spread an even wider cone of fire with her breath, and again, the flames linger. so you will have to watch your footing and her moves to avoid getting comboed to oblivion. Now, since you simply have to aim for her head to damage her, this next session will have some tips and tricks to help you take her down. So here are some things I found during my experiments that should help you take her down. First off, when I brought up Aurora earlier, it's because this will cut her damage quite a bit, making living through her attacks a lot easier. But if you want to go Leroy Jenkins on her, summon Tinkerbell and let her keep the healing up while you attack and tank her attacks. Just keep in mind that while she's out, you will lose access to your attack abilities, so use this if you're okay with basic attacking. Do remember that you will have to refresh your Aurora now and then, and if you get a little too crazy, you might take more damage than Tink can refresh, so watch your health in case you have to heal an emergency. I have also found that you can actually jump onto Maleficent's back, and most of her attacks, except her summoned fireballs, can't reach you up there. So use this as a way to regain your composure and health if you need a safe spot. With all that said, that should be enough to keep you alive and take down Maleficent once and for all, as long as you do mind your health and shield. Now that she's defeated, we can now go rescue Kairi and...
Here comes the new challenger!
Oh, right. We still have to deal with Riku Ansem, huh? Alright, well, let's show how to take him down too. Now, there is not much more prep for Riku Ansem other than making sure you have some items handy, because as soon as the fight starts, Donald and Goofy are barred from this fight, so you can't summon Tink this time, and we'll have to watch your health. So make sure you have plenty of potions and some ethers. Now that we are restocked, let's talk about Riku Ansem's attacks. Alright, Riku Ansem will fight like a swordsman. He has a double slash dash attack, a ground thrust attack that leaves a small shockwave, a normal jump attack, and a spin attack that will reflect your attacks. If you block his attacks though, you can actually knock him off balance and get some EXP as well. All of his attacks at this point can be blocked or parried, so if you're confident, you can fight him blade to blade. However, once he's down a bar of health, he will start summoning the power of darkness, and his left hand will start to glow, showing that 3 of his attacks will be enhanced by the darkness. His dash double slash will send out a dark ring at you on the first slash, but you can actually reflect it back at him for extra damage. His jump attack will send out a horizontal wave from where he hit the ground, so move away instead of around him if he does this. Lastly is his thrust attack, where not only does he do a bigger shockwave, but he also sends out tall pillars of energy around you, doing more damage. So run when he does this, but it will also end his dark mode for now. However, once he's on his last bar of health, that's when he will get desperate and will not only stay in dark mode permanently, but also replace his thrust attack with a dark version of Sonic Blade, going clockwise as he does it through the arena. When he floats in the air with his Keyblade over his head, he will do this attack, and that's your cue to try to glide over it, since he only does a 1 full circle before saying 1 or 2 things, and does the thrust with a huge amount of pillars all over the arena. But if you jump right where he says it, you should be able to avoid the attack completely. And that's all of his attacks. But before I go, I have a couple of tips here. First, make sure you use Aurora here if you want to cut his damage. And if you do that, I recommend not using your attack skills and just focus on basic attacks, since that plus Aurora and Cura will eat through your MP. So focus on just attacking him and save your MP for healing and defense. With all that said, if you're able to go blade to blade with him and keep your health up, he should go down without too much issue. Well, that about does it for this boss strategy double feature. I hope this will really help out everyone that was really struggling with these two, and I hope you enjoy the rest of Kingdom Hearts 1, as this is when the game is really reaching its climax, but it will also start baring its teeth. You'll see what I mean. And if you have a request for a boss, leave it in the comments below. I do read my comments, guys. And if you want to help me out, I have a Patreon in the description below, as well as my Twitch if you want to catch me streaming. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed the video, and until next time everyone, this is Omega Snake signing out, and I'll see you all next time.